October 14th, 1066. Before the sun fully rose over the English Channel, three men believed, with every fiber of their ambition, that the throne of England was rightfully theirs. By sunset, only one of them would be alive.
Wolves Chronicle. Echoes from the ages.
To understand Hastings, you must understand what came before it. England in 1066 was one of the wealthiest kingdoms in Europe. Rich farmland, bustling trade ports, and a sophisticated royal administration made it a prize unlike any other. But its king, Edward the Confessor, had no heir. On the 5th of January, 1066, Edward died, and the moment his heart stopped beating, the most dangerous game in medieval Europe began. Three men, three claims, one throne. Harold Godwinson, the most powerful earl in England, crowned king the very day after Edward's death by the English nobility. William of Normandy, a formidable Norman duke who claimed Edward had personally promised him the throne, and that Harold himself had sworn an oath on holy relics to support William's claim. And Harald Hardrada, the fearsome king of Norway, backed by Harold's own treacherous brother, Tostig. He simply believed the strongest sword deserved the crown. By September 1066, Harold faced his first crisis. Harald Hardrada and his Viking fleet, over 300 ships, had landed in the north of England. They crushed the local English forces at the Battle of Fulford Gate. Harold's response was extraordinary. He force-marched his army nearly 300 kilometers in just 4 days. 4 days. On the 25th of September, Harold struck at Stamford Bridge. The Vikings were caught off guard. Many were resting on the far side of the river without their armor.
Alarm!
Get the formation!
According to legend, a single enormous Viking held the bridge alone, cutting down man after man, until an English soldier floated beneath the bridge in a barrel and stabbed him from below. When the Vikings finally broke, the slaughter was total. Harold Hardrada was killed by an arrow through the throat. Tostig, Harold's own brother, died beside him. The mighty Norwegian invasion was over. Of 300 ships that had crossed the North Sea, fewer than 25 were needed to carry the survivors home. Harold had saved England. Then a rider arrived.
My lord, ships, hundreds of them, Pevensey Bay, the Normans have landed.
How many?
More than we can count, my lord. Knights, cavalry, they're already moving inland.
Ride back. Tell no one the number. Tell them only that we marched.
William of Normandy had landed in the south. While Harold was destroying one invasion in the north, the other had begun in the south. On September 28th, just 3 days after Stamford Bridge, William's fleet of nearly 700 ships landed on the coast of Sussex. Thousands of Norman knights, infantry, and archers began pouring onto English soil. William was no reckless adventurer. He was one of the finest military minds of his age. He had trained for this moment his entire life. His army was professional, disciplined, and built for open battle. And now he waited. Harold received the news and faced a choice that historians debate to this day. Wait, rest his exhausted army, gather more troops, and meet William on his own terms, or strike fast before William could fortify his position and ravage the English countryside.
We cannot wait. We march.
Harold chose speed. He marched his army back to London, another 300 kilometers in just 4 days. He paused briefly, then pushed south toward the Norman position. Whether this was bold genius or fatal impatience, no one can say for certain. What we know is this. On the evening of October 13th, Harold's army camped on a ridge called Senlac Hill, overlooking the town of Hastings. The English took the high ground. Harold's position was strong. The ridge was perhaps 800 meters wide, narrow enough that William's cavalry couldn't flank him. Steep slopes on either side, a dense wood at his back. The English force numbered somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 men, but crucially, a large portion were furred, part-time levies, farmers who fought when called.
You swore an oath, Harold. On the bones of saints, you gave me your word.
A man can only give his word freely. You held my men, you held me. What you took that day was not an oath, it was a signature under duress. History will not make that distinction. No, it won't. But my people made their choice, and I cannot answer that with surrender. Then God will answer for both of us in the morning. He always does.
The morning of October 14th. At approximately 9 o'clock in the morning, William's army began its advance. The Norman archers moved forward first. Thousands of arrows rained uphill toward the English shield wall. But firing uphill was a problem. Most arrows overshot or hit shields. The opening barrage accomplished little. Then the Norman infantry advanced. They met the English shield wall, and they broke against it like a wave against stone. The housecarls were devastating. The shield wall held. Then William sent in his cavalry. Norman heavy cavalry against a prepared shield wall on elevated ground. In theory, devastating. In practice, a disaster. The horses couldn't gain momentum on the slope. The English housecarls swung their axes at the horses' legs, dropping them and their riders. The cavalry recoiled. Then something happened that nearly cost William everything. A rumor swept through the Norman left flank. William was dead. In medieval armies, the death of the commander meant total collapse, and now the Norman left was routing. The English right, against Harold's orders, broke the shield wall and charged downhill in pursuit. It was the oldest mistake in warfare. William was not dead. The Norman cavalry wheeled around. The English, who had broken ranks, were cut down almost to a man. Harold's right flank was gone. By mid-afternoon, William changed his approach. He ordered his archers to fire at a high angle, not directly at the shields, but up and over them. Arrows began falling nearly vertically onto the men behind the wall. Then a final massive combined assault, archers, infantry, and cavalry attacking simultaneously. And then, Harold. The exact circumstances of Harold's death have been debated for nearly 1,000 years. The famous Bayeux tapestry, embroidered within decades of the battle, shows a figure with an arrow through his eye, labeled Harold. Whether this is accurate, symbolic, or even showing Harold at all, no one can say with certainty. What is not disputed is this: King Harold II of England died on Senlac Hill on the evening of October 14, 1066. With their king fallen, the English began to break. The last organized resistance, a group of housecarls who fought to the death around Harold's body, was overwhelmed as night fell. William marched on London. The remaining English nobles attempted briefly to rally around Edgar Atheling, the last royal heir, but the will to fight had died on that ridge. On Christmas Day, 1066, in Westminster Abbey, the same church where Harold had been crowned less than a year before, William the Conqueror was crowned King of England. England would never again be successfully invaded. Hastings was the last time a foreign army conquered the island. Every invasion attempt since, from Napoleon to Hitler, would fail. But it would also produce something unexpected: the mixing of Norman French and Anglo-Saxon English, of Viking toughness and Mediterranean sophistication, of conqueror and conquered, would eventually produce one of the most creative, contradictory, and influential cultures in human history. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. The next campaign is already coming.
Wolves Chronicle. Echoes from the Ages.